Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Sagittarius energy. We're going to do a 10 card spread this time. And we're going to look at it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will in the world. This isn't a personal reading. I don't know your life. People are going to harness this energy differently depending on how they harness their Sagittarius energy. If they harness high vibe Sagittarius energy, they'll be motivated and inspired by truth and love and working cooperatively with people, because love is about treating people the way you like to be treated, being just and fair, holding yourself accountable, acting with character and integrity, willing to go on new journeys in life to learn lessons in life. But other people might be more motivated and inspired by the world or by themselves or ego or image or money or materialism or indulgence of something that they think is the thing that will make them happy. Not so much love. You get hurt doing love. Some people don't ever want to do love. Some people just want to be kind of like in kind of more not formal commitments. More where they can come and go as they please. Maybe because they know they're not kind of maybe shadowy, kind of Sagittarius energy could be kind of impulsive and reckless and don't have good boundaries and, maybe more about myself, because shadow energy is more about myself, me, my wants, my needs, my lust, my greed, my pride, my ego. Some people might know that's the type of people that they are. And I don't want to tie myself down. I don't want to have to make decisions that are best for everyone involved. Anyway, we're going to look at it from all those different perspectives. Listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story. Listen to your intuition about where other people are at in the story. Okay, I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which is the Knight of Swords, which is Gemini energy, which is about our dualistic nature, about what our truth is. Are we going to align with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature? Is that our truth? Is that what we're going to work with? Listen to our intuition and love to guide the decisions we make? Or are we more aligned with ourself and the things of the world, and we're going to work with the things of the world because that's what we think makes logical, practical sense. That's our truth. It's not love. It's not intuition. We got to be practical. We got to work with these things of the world. I'm going to live more from my mind than my heart. Depending on what people's truth is most likely what they're going to invest their time, energy, and effort into, and how they're going to keep moving forward. In our nature of free will, generally we're not like hopping back and forth every other day. Throughout our life, we've kind of come to these different decisions about how we view life, and then we have all these different people in the world, and having all these different people in the world gives us free will choice. There's all the people over there that kind of live their life like that. There's all the people over here that live their life more like this. There's all the people in between that haven't made a decision yet. And we have free will to pick and choose. The only thing is, it can take a long time for us to get clear about what our truth is. It can take other people a long time to get clear about what their truth is. So we get in all these different relationships with people to try to help us get clear about what our truth is. Because we all get kind of indoctrinated by the world, our family, our friend group, our country, all these things that we adopt those things as being the truth. And then we kind of got to live some life to kind of really get clear about what our authentic truth is. And sometimes our truth isn't the same as other people in our family. Everybody can have their own opinions about how they view life, how they view the world, how they view other people, how they act in relationships that they think is just and fair versus what we think is just and fair. And it can take this time of learning all these lessons to get clear about what our truth is. And then the more people get clear about their truth, they kind of are more clear about what they do want to invest in and what they don't want to invest in. People could view people as very loving, nurturing, just fair people. But I know that my being in a relationship with someone who's like that, if I'm not that type of person, I know that those people are eventually going to keep trying to encourage me to work through my issues to make me be that type of person. Because they want to be in those type of relationships. And hopefully people who already know that's not who I am, I don't want to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. That means I do have to work through these issues. That means I do have to work through some things that I, up to this point, haven't worked through, and I might not want to work through them. And this relationship is probably going to fail. People should get in relationships with people who are more on the same page as them, but some people don't like to because they are kind of all about themselves. Well, they don't want to be in a relationship with someone else who's all about themselves. If they kind of like to be the bossy, controlling, manipulative person in a relationship, they certainly don't want to be in a relationship with someone else who's bossy and controlling and manipulative. So they're looking to kind of manipulate someone else to indulge them in their poor behavior. And that would be probably more of a mismatched relationship. But we start out with the Ace of Wands and the Empress energy and the World. And I kind of chuckled because the Empress energy is, we can all be, in high vibe, the Empress energy is about love. The masculine figures can talk about how we present ourselves in the world. The feminine figures can represent how we think and feel. Everybody can want to be in relationships. Why? Do they harness high vibe Empress energy or a more worldly or shadowy Empress energy? Some people harness it high vibe. Their truth is they're inspired by love. They offer love to people in the world. They stand up against their more all about myself, stubborn, defensive nature. We've all got our shadow nature. Everybody could be bossy, controlling, prideful, stubborn, bossy, controlling, petty, envious, jealous, whatever they want. We all know we could be that, right? But we've learned lessons in life. That's what the high vibe King of Pentacles would be. I've learned lessons in life. Hopefully some people outgrew some of those ways of being from the time they were like 5 years old and on, you know? And they shed some more, they're more immature, all about me. Everybody's got to do things my way. That can be shadowy Aries, shadowy Taurus, shadowy Gemini. My truth is it's all about me, and I'm very stubborn and rigid and prideful, and I'm not going to change. Other people realize I don't want to act like that, and they were inspired from the 1 to the 7 to get out of their more egoic nature and indulging that way of being within themselves. And they were inspired to harness these energies in a high vibe way. High vibe Aries, Taurus, Gemini. I could be that way if I want, and I could be defensive to love if I want, and I could try to control people and manipulate people and make my life all about me. But I want to work together with people in relationships based on truth and love. So that means I need to be someone who's aligned with truth and love. And that means I need to be inspired to stand up to my shadow nature in my free will and align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. One aspect of ourself is in the driver's seat of our life. And high vibe people, somewhere along in the path of their life, maybe since the time they were young, decided I align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. I don't want to try to control and manipulate people. I don't want to try to intimidate people. I feel proud of myself when I act with character and integrity. When I make decisions taking other people into account. People in my life that I love. It makes me feel proud to walk the talk. So what I was just describing was like high vibe Aries and high vibe Taurus. And I want to defend love. And as we've went through life, you know, we listen to our intuition about the other people who are in our life to see if they're on the same page as us. And if they're not, out of love for ourselves and what we're trying to manifest, I'm not going to keep living in a world, basically people in my close environment, that I have to keep being defensive to because they do harness these energies in a shadowy way. You know, eventually I'm going to work to close out and distance myself from those people. Like if they were that way in my original family, yeah, when I can move out of home, I'm going to move out of home. If I've gotten a job and I realize some of the people I'm working with are like that, you know, I might have to feel like I have to stay for a certain period of time. I'll just try to keep my distance from those people. You know, I don't want to get into the dirt with them because that's not how I choose to want to live my life. And sometimes you can get in relationships with people and they do harness these energies in a different way than you. And yeah, they don't like it. They want you to kind of get in the dirt with them. Play the game. We all have certain patterns of ways of being in relationships and how we like relationships to work out. And the people that have their way of interacting in relationship want you to participate in that relationship dynamic. And some people are like, I don't like that dynamic. I don't think it seems very gesture fair or inspiring or loving. I might just find it superficial and shallow. And I don't really care to do that. You know, because a more subtle, more shallow way is that we are more inspired by the world and ego and image and money and or having a certain status or image, and it's always about trying to appease everyone, where everybody is inauthentic and superficial and shallow. And it's like, that might be how you like to live your life. I kind of like people with a little more creativity and inspiration who are more authentic and loving. Well, sometimes those people are mad because you are kind of illuminating. They like to view themselves as being like you, but then when they can get a high vibe person in the environment, it kind of highlights that they are kind of maybe more superficial and shallow and not very creative or inspiring. And when you're more inspired by creativity and love, it's not about following these rules and, well, I do this and then you do that. And then I say this and then you say that. That is the proper way for us to get along in this relationship. That way, nobody's really being independent and we feel like we can control everything. And they get someone in their midst who's more creative and inspired, who doesn't, you know, live by all these invisible rules of how you're supposed to act in the world. I just treat people the way I like to be treated. I'm an emotionally mature person. I treat people with respect and love. It's like, well, that's like dandy, but we do it this way. And there's certain like ways of being that we interact and how we do things. And you're supposed to do that too. It's like, why? Then we have the King of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Some people that are harness the Empress energy in a shadowy way, that would be people who emotionally, in how they harness their Libra Taurus energy, their philosophy of life of what they think is just and fair, is it's more about defending themselves and protecting themselves maybe from being hurt. So they don't want to take action in love. They don't want to detach. The Five of Pentacles can talk about detaching from an old way of viewing life. They don't want to detach from this way of viewing life and growing and healing and maturing themselves. Because that would require, in the Eight of Cups going to the Nine of Cups, that they work through some of these illusions that they have about themselves, about the world, about relationships, and they love themselves to become more independent in the world. Some of the people that are defensive to love are just codependent on other people in their life that they view as loving. But they also could align with and defend their more worldly egoic nature within themselves. If I align with my more self-defensive nature, that'll keep me safe, because then I don't trust other people in love. I can keep aligning with my defensive nature. My defensive nature loves me. Yeah. Our defensive nature, our fearful nature, our insecure nature, our petty, envious nature, all those aspects within ourselves, if we get caught up in the illusion of it, it can make us feel safe because we never move forward in our life any differently. And then whatever aspect of our shadow nature, our lust, our greed, our pride, our ego, our fear, our codependent nature is running our life, and we never have to, I guess if we don't want to, we don't ever put in this work and effort to stand up for ourselves and love ourselves. If we took action in love, we could offer love to that aspect of ourselves that feels left out in the cold. Instead of aligning with our shadow nature, we have the free will to align with our loving nature. But it does require us to quit being a more codependent energy, codependent on people outside of us to be the answer to our problems, and we take responsibility within ourselves. I am not a child anymore. I'm supposed to be like this would be kind of like the mother and the father. I take action in love to love myself, to grow and heal and mature myself. I have my own inner child nature that is fearful, that is insecure, that is bossy, that is stubborn, that wants what it wants when it wants it. But I might have a hard time finding people to be in a relationship with me if I keep giving in to that nature within myself. So I make the decision in the Emperor energy that my philosophy of life needs to deal with the truth, and I need to incorporate the truth into my philosophy of life, because the Hierophant and the Five of Pentacles is Taurus energy, and Taurus energy is like the Supreme Court within our own head. We have this dualistic nature within us. We battle it out of how I should live my life. And depending on who wins, the 7 is kind of like who wins because there's like 12 zodiac signs. And you could even look at it that there's 24. There's 12 shadowy ones, 12 high vibe ones. Which ones, but if we just narrowed it down to 12, because some might be in a little more shadowy energy than some others, who's going to win? Whoever has 7 out of the 12 wins. And there's some people in the world, when they did the debate within themselves and throughout their life of what kind of person they were going to be, they came out on the side of the world and themselves and defensiveness. And we all know it's really hard to get things changed. In the United States, we have the Supreme Court. It takes a long time. And it can take society a long time to realize that they want certain rules and laws changed. And then it can take a long time, in all the minor court systems, like everyday life situations that people go through. Things happen where people realize at the big picture, there's a problem with the law and it's affecting all of us down here in our life. And then eventually we have enough of things happening in people's everyday lives that eventually it kind of gets taken up to the big picture to get it to the Hierophant to say we need to make a different decision. If we want to be good leaders in our own life and quit letting our more prideful, materialistic, defensive, selfish, greedy, blah, blah, blah nature run our life, we better stand up for ourselves. And we better start offering love to ourselves. to grow and heal and mature ourselves, or we're going to keep living our life just like this. And I'm getting tired of living my life like this. And I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And when we're ready, you know, we've all been there. We've all been defended a certain way of life. You know, you can imagine when you were young and your parents were trying to get you, honey, why are you doing that? We'd really like you not to do that. You know, why don't you love and believe in yourself? Why are you doing these things in your life that maybe aren't good for you? Well, you know, we all can indulge ourselves in our more immature nature. And the whole thing is we got lessons to learn. Other people have lived their life. They might know better what's good or bad for us, but we don't really know it. And sometimes you just got to live life, you know, getting to your own truth. And we learn lessons the hard way. And so we all have been there. And it's the same thing that kind of could be happening with some of the other people in our life. We have learned some lessons in life that some other people haven't learned. And they are defending the way they live life because that's how they view life. Just like we did when we were younger and we had to learn some lessons in life. And when we see that we're in relationships with people who have a certain way of defending and viewing life that they think is great, and we're like, yeah, that's not how I want to live my life. And for some, it is all about themselves. That's like shadowy empress energy, male or female. It's all about them. And we get in a relationship with them and we're trying to move forward with them. And we kind of keep seeing that they seem to be resistant to detaching from some things that maybe they should detach from. Either about being all about themselves or these things that make them feel safe. You know, it's like someone aligning with a bad mother in their own head. A self-critical berating mother, or a you are perfect in every way pumpkin way. You know, we're either indulging our more immature nature or our self-inflated self-importance nature. Or, you know, we're a little more balanced and we're not so full of ourselves. And, you know, we've learned some lessons in life. And then there's just some people that it's like, I just want to indulge myself in relationships. I am defensive to taking responsibility in a relationship. I don't want to make decisions where I have to take responsibility for other people. I only want to make decisions for myself. It's just me, you know? Some high vibe people have had some shadowy people. Some loving people could have gotten into a relationship thinking it was going to be victorious, got in these relationships, moved forward with some people who are a little more worldly or shadowy. And initially, things could have seemed good. People were moving forward, but then maybe they started to realize that the person they were in a relationship with, that the driving factor in their life was more the money or the materialism or the status or the image, or started to see that I think you know, this relationship isn't growing and maturing over time. You know, I wanted the relationship to grow and mature like things do, and that we would have this more deep, meaningful relationship, but you know, your loving nature might be something you kind of leave out in the cold. You know, you might put some work and effort into the relationship and do a lot of things that are conducive to a relationship working, but what about your more loving nature? Is that part going to come with us? You know? And sometimes we can feel like people like can present themselves as like loving people in a way to us and to other people in the world when we're out in the world, but does it feel like it's more of an illusion? The Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups, which can be people trying to emotionally confuse us about the truth and trying to make us think they're these people who are motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and authentic, deep, meaningful relationships. But as time goes by, initially we can get caught up in the job, the relationship, the friendship. But then as time goes by, it's like, wait a minute. It seems like there's other things that manipulate you that you seem to be defensive of becoming more independent of, which could be people in their life, could be their original family, could be a family member, could be a friend group, could be a work group, could be their ego. Are we all going to become more independent, or whatever that is in your life? Is it always going to be a third party in our relationship? Might even kind of make me, even though I might be the person you're married to and have children with, I'm kind of like the third party to that relationship. That is the primary relationship. I did not realize that initially. I didn't realize that that person or those people were who you have primary loyalty to, and that I'm just a third party that you're kind of indulging in a relationship with. That I guess if those people were to say, I don't want you moving forward with those people are different, those people are stepping outside of their comfort zone, outside of our comfort zone, and we also don't want you to step out of your comfort zone. We like you to stay right here, and we've decided you should be defensive to those people. Some of those people will become defensive to those people in their life, even if they married them and have children with them. Because some of these other people, or their defensive nature, or their immature nature, or their self-centered nature is running the show of their life. And they are not willing to detach from the people in their life that might have that kind of influence in their life. They're not independent. They're not independent to go live their own authentic life. They try to create the illusion that they are, but they're not. And sometimes you can get in relationships with people and you don't really realize that or can't figure it out, because it's confusing if you're not someone who's kind of codependent on other people like that, to let them have that kind of, some people are independent and everybody in their family is independent. We respect everybody as individuals, and you're going to go live your life, and we wish you the best. And if you need help or support, let us know. But I accept that you're your own individual, and you're going to get in relationships with other people, and you're going to go create your own life. And there's other people that it's like, well, you can marry them, but if we end up having a problem with them and we want them to go, you will let them go, won't you? And that sounds like some big bougie thing that you'd have in big towns and really rich people, but it doesn't have to be that at all. The same dynamic can happen in all the different stratas of the socioeconomic classes. The whole thing is, if some people are more about ego and image and money and materialism and having a certain status or image in the world, that's like shadowy Taurus. Like, the most important thing is for people to view us a certain way. And so then we live our life like this. We try to do things within this certain context so that people, and it's all just in their own fucking head. Because the other people are just living their life. But it is this, like, so much of our life is based on what we think, and then what we think other people think, and how we think they live their life, and how they act. How come people can't just go live their authentic life? Why can't I let love and intuition guide me? How about I treat people with love and respect? I treat them the way I want to treat them. Well, what would that involve exactly? Would you hang out with these people? Would you hang out at this place? How often would you hang out with those people and at that place? It's just this whole kind of social bullshit, basically. Can there be completely stable, grounded, loving, nurturing people that go and do all these different things and social activities and certain locations of the world, like I'm talking like, say, a bar, And they're perfectly fine people. You know, some people are like, they've decided because they only maybe go up to the local bar or something once a month, or only on special occasions, or only if certain people are with them. But they would never be there and stop in there to have supper and have a drink before they go home at night. Well, they might be married, or that might be how they live their life. Just because other people do it, you know, people don't have to be like the dregs of society or get drunk every night. But some people is just like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just all this invisible bullshit. Because anyway, they don't like people who kind of operate outside the rules that they live their life by. It can make them very uncomfortable because it is making them feel like, for the people who don't like to step out of their comfort zone and just go live their authentic life, I think it causes them a lot of defensiveness, because I'm kind of moving further and further away, and these things that kind of, all these different ways I used to think or that used to manipulate me, I kind of feel like, well, for some, they could end up moving forward with some people who aren't like the people that they're used to hanging around with. And that can be scary because we all like to stay in our comfort zone. So even the people that could have these kind of ways of viewing life that are maybe a little restricting and refining and oppressive and limiting, for them, they can go in the relationship and they could even stay in the relationship for a long time. But the whole time it can feel like, oh my gosh, this is so outside my comfort zone. You know, I might really like you. I might love you. I might be in a relationship with you. I might be married to you. But, you know, if that's not their natural state of being, and their natural state of being is, I just feel so much more relieved when everybody is kind of just, you know, which we all need a place and a rest and a break. It's not like we can constantly move forward, constantly like pushing the boundary, because we all kind of live in certain places and we settle down for a while, right? But it could be that there gets to a certain point in a relationship where people are kind of willing to go, you know, you kind of move along, it's outside their comfort zone, it's uncomfortable, but then, you know, we kind of get to that space, and then we're kind of working from that space, we're learning lessons together, whatever. And then at some future date, things might change a little bit. We move forward a little bit. Then we settle down again. And we don't even really have to move houses. It's just that, you know, things change. And everybody's willing to work with it. But there can come a point in a relationship where it's just a bridge that people feel they can't cross. You are moving forward in a way that I just don't think I can go there, or I don't want to go there. You know, it could be the final thing that it was okay to be this way, which was so out of character or context of how my family grew up, but I could have liked it, you know, but, you know, just being more loving, more giving, more nurturing, more just, more fair, more fluid, you know, instead of like controlling or restrictive and confining and oppressive. You know, you can enjoy certain differences that aren't your norm or weren't your norm growing up for a period of time, but then it might get to a point where it really does maybe just get to some final truth. Because before you detach from an old foundational way of viewing life, you have to work through all the other like in the sword suit, you have to go through all 10 swords. Someone could do all 9 in a relationship with someone, but then it can be that last truth that is like the sticking point. And for some people, it'd be like, I'd have to come out behind my mask, because I view the King of Cups in shadow. It could be people who like to wear a mask of being a loving, nurturing, just, fair person in the world, but to really detach from the mask and really be it, that's a whole different foundational philosophy shift. And that could be too great. And that could be the 8 of Cups walking away from the 7 of Cups to go to the 9 of Cups. I feel like emotionally the relationship isn't growing and maturing over time. And I want that more deep, meaningful relationship. And in order to have that deep, meaningful relationship, people can't keep hiding behind their more self-protective nature. They have to be willing to detach from that, or this view of life of I'm supposed to be more the boss in a relationship, whether they're male or female, to try to control things. And if I were to really let myself emotionally invest authentically in this relationship, that would change the whole relationship dynamic. And for some people, they don't want to do that either. You know, some people want to keep staying emotionally detached, so because it's kind of a shadowy need to control it. And that could be the final thing that puts me way out of my comfort zone. And other people are like, but I can't do life the way you do it. I might have done it for a long time. We might have been friends for a long time. You know, for a long time, we can offer love and encouragement to people to try to get them to move forward with us in a more just, fair, and balanced way. But if they keep being defensive to it, and if they do or say things that are hurtful and unkind, it's like, yeah, bye. You know, you might be a family member. I will see you maybe at Christmas. You know, am I going to invest much time, energy, and effort into you? No. Everybody has to take responsibility for how they choose to act in a relationship. And some people might be more about themselves. And if you're not willing to indulge them in defending them being all about themselves and indulge them being that way, then they don't want you there either. You know, sometimes we got to question ourselves when people are being unkind, rude, whatever. You know, we can not want to see the truth of it, but sometimes it is those people wanting the people to leave. I'm trying to get you to leave. I don't want to look like the bad person, but I'm never going to return your phone calls. You call me and, oh, I just never can talk. And, oh, the only time we do talk, you know, say if it was somebody that you have a long distance friendship with, the only time you do talk is when they want to talk because, you know, you can, you know, your life maybe isn't all that pressing at certain hours of the day, that if you call me, I can talk to you, odds are, or I could probably actually get back to you later that night. But if it's the other way around, they can never get back to you, you know. So it ends up feeling like the scales are always tipped in their favor, in a sense that where it kind of feels like it's unjust and unfair, and that it's just about them and indulging them. And it's like, I didn't think that was the point of the relationship, you know, was to be all about you, you know. I thought it was going to be equal give and take. And eventually people speak their truth and it's like, you know, you can go find a new friend or whatever, and I'm just going to go on my own and I'll give myself the things that I wish you would have been more loving or whatever about. I can take over that role within myself, thank you. And, you know, I guess I learned a lesson that you aren't who I thought you were, you know? And same way, some people we don't realize when we're in a relationship with them that they really are more about ego and image or money and materialism. And they might get in a relationship with people and things can seem to be going good for a long time, and they could have been good for a long time. But if they start to feel that, because shadowy energy is our more competitive nature, and if they start to feel like, well, there would be a lot of good things about this relationship if I move forward in it, but am I going to have what I could have? Status, image, power, influence, social, whatever, all these things. Maybe if I let you go, even though you could be a very loving and nurturing person, if I let you go, I could maybe go get in a relationship. The Empress can mean abundant in a lot of ways. Sometimes some people who are more worldly, materialistically focused got in a relationship with someone who could have been more abundant, more in love and creativity and all those things than materialistic wealth. And it was great maybe being in a relationship with them, but then it's like, but I really always was someone, the more worldly people would be like, it's been great being in a relationship with you in a lot of ways. And I really think anybody who does get in a relationship with you is going to love being in a relationship with you. And you're a very nurturing, loving, stable, grounded, emotionally mature, encouraging, loving person. But I really am more about more ego and more image and more money and more social clout, that I'm willing to let you go. And I'm going to go communicate with someone. And then the same thing could happen vice versa, right? Some people could have gotten in a relationship with someone too who was had more money or status or image and things like that. And they could have been defending them for a long time. And it could have been a good relationship in a lot of ways. But then eventually, loving people are more motivated by love. And it's like, I am willing to give up some of these things, the status, the image, the social clout, whatever came with it, because those things aren't really what drive and motivate me anyway. I mean, we all want stability and security and enjoy some of the finer things in life, but to just stay in it and feeling like I'm out in the cold and I'm moving forward, just creating this illusion of how wonderful my life is, when I'm in a relationship with someone who's more about themself or bossy or controlling or defensive to love, or it's kind of more about indulging in the relationship, but not like a deep, meaningful, loving relationship, I just don't want to keep moving forward in that. And then, the high vibe people are like, I don't want to stay in it if you don't want to move forward with me and align with your more loving nature, and then some of these other issues that might be going on. And the other people might be like, I'd be willing to move forward with you in a relationship, but you have to stop kind of like being more independent. You have to make your life more about these things that I make my life about. And the whole thing is, if that's not our truth, that's not our truth. Their truth isn't our truth isn't their truth. And sometimes we've had people in our life that we know are just kind of at different places at different times, different things that drive and motivate us. And, not everybody ends a relationship in negativity. It's like, I don't know that I'm ready to move forward in that way. Maybe you are more bold and brave and confident than me. Maybe you are more bright and intelligent and going to go do things and stuff in the world that I'm not going to do. Whatever the case is, sometimes people are like, I'm living my life a certain way. I have certain people in my life. I'm not going to detach from this to go live my life differently. Either I am in a relationship with people who are on the same page as me. I want to go get in a relationship with people who are on the same page as me. I am never going to live my life like that. Vice versa. you know? And everybody could kind of be angry. People can feel left out in the cold from some of the people. But the whole thing is, if we have to live our truth and not living us trying to make someone else live life like we live it when that's not their truth and what kind of drives and motivates them and what they find emotionally fulfilling. Of course, I think the people who, I think life is about learning lessons and our shadowy nature represented in the big picture by the devil, all these things that oppress us and limit us and restrict us and confine us and imprison us. I think we learned some hard lessons because I think high vibe energy is about being free. Freeing yourself from those things and being more independent in the world. To be free, the things of the world were meant to be enjoyed, but they're meant to be enjoyed from a place of love. So they don't get such a stranglehold on you, that you don't make those things so important in your life. It imprisons you. And I think for the people that are imprisoned by their ego or their image or more about money and materialism or these things that they indulge in at the expense or the choice of choosing love, I think it's not going to turn out the way they want, because I think this world was created for us to have free will to see if we would choose love. And if we choose love, that's kind of when we go through a period of maybe feeling left out in the cold, and it can seem like other people who are playing the game have so much more or look so much more victorious. But at the end, it's the people who invested in truth and love that have the true stability and security and emotional fulfillment in their life. Because how much do we need? For some people, money and status and attention, enough is never enough. And it is like its own addiction. And other people are like, I just need enough to live my life. I don't need to have the biggest and the best. I want a mix of both. I want these things of the world, but I'm not willing to sacrifice deep, meaningful, authentic, loving relationships to have those things. And other people are. And some of those people did. And they could be wearing kind of their false mask to someone who has the status or the image or the money, whether they're a male or a female, whether who they're in a relationship with is a male or a female, or the boss that they're making their life all about to have certain status and image, and they feel left out in the cold from a truly abundant, stable, emotionally nurturing environment because that's not what they chose to invest in. And I think that's the game of life. You can make your life all about you. You can make your life all about money and materialism and status and image or indulging in things to make you happy. But we are these emotionally complex human beings. And ever since we've been little children, the environment we thrive best in is an authentic, loving, encouraging, supportive environment. And some people have given up that to have a certain image and status and wealth and reputation. And they defend it because they're unwilling to detach from it, because in their ego, these things or the certain status or the certain image or these things they indulge in, they're sure are going to make them happy, or they're too prideful to admit they made a mistake. The truth sets us free. We're perpetually like children learning how to walk in the world. We're going to make mistakes and learn lessons all our life. But some people are too defensive to say that I could have gotten on the wrong path and I should have let some of those people go and I should have stood up for myself. And I really should have thought about what my truth was and what kind of example I wanted to set in the world and for the people in my life and in my community. Am I bold and brave enough to walk the talk and adhere to a higher truth and justice, not do what society says to do when I know it's wrong or it's not just and fair, or I acted out of ego, or I was being bossy or selfish or immature or whatever, that would be somebody truly worth looking up to and admiring. But there can be other people in the world that would say people shouldn't do that, and then people get caught up in their ego, and then we have the world moving forward, nobody's speaking the truth. Other people know people could be acting in shadowy, hurtful, unkind ways, but because we don't want to step outside of societal norms to bring needed change to the world, it wears down at our own foundation of self. And people are like, you keep living your life like that, I don't think it's anything to be proud of, and I'm going to become independent of you. And the people that are moving forward with me are the people who aren't as so consumed with those things, that love themselves and believe in themselves and are willing. I view High Vibe King of Pentacles, I view as Capricorn energy, because shadowy Capricorn's the devil. Truly people who are worth and should be looked up to and admired are the people who didn't let their more immature, worldly, egoic nature run their life. And they became free of it. So what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming? We have the Three of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the reason it came out is because of this card not showing itself. When some people are moving forward in life differently, a lot of people in your world cannot understand, how are you doing that? How'd you leave that job or that friendship or that relationship or whatever? It seemed to have everything that you could want. There'd be a lot of people that'd be like, I think I would have stayed. But you left. And they don't get it. And the reason they don't understand it has to do with this card. The Five of Pentacles. Which again is your philosophy of life. Your philosophy of life is different than other people's philosophy of life. Some people would think I would stay in whatever if I made that much money, or I had that blah, 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 blah. And other people are like, but it's not emotionally fulfilling, and it's like an illusion, and it could be worse. People could be bossy, controlling, manipulative, prideful, egotistical, defensive, worse, very controlling and oppressive. And it's like, that's not my philosophy of life. My philosophy of life is different. And so in the Three of Pentacles, that's Capricorn energy. You're harnessing high vibe Capricorn energy. You are freeing yourself from things that cause you mental conflict and conflicted with your dreams. How you view life. The life that you want to have. And you could have felt some people wanted to win at all costs. And it was all about shadowy Capricorn energy. Ego, image, money, materialism, themself. And you saw the truth of it. And it's like, I'm going to move away. And then in the Two of Pentacles, I'm going to pick up my investment in that. I'm going to maintain balance within myself. And then I'm going to let go of that foundation. I mean, it takes time. We can always distance ourselves from people. But then it can take time emotionally to distance ourselves from people. And from the 2 to the 6 is taking back the 4 of Pentacles, which could have been a foundation you were holding on to. I'm no longer holding on to that foundation. I have let that foundation go. I am more balanced and grounded and within myself. And I realize the truth that, for a long time, we can hope other people can change. They don't change. And we just realize we have different philosophies of life. How they view life, what they think is like the dream life, what motivates and inspires them is different. And we see the truth of it. And then we've completely released that foundation. And the Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles. But it does take time. Some of you are just in the midst of still doing this. Other people are just getting out of a situation, and then they're going to go through this process of really emotionally detaching from it. Other people have detached from it. Now they're just going through the final phase of really emotionally detaching from it. And they're ready now to exchange resources with someone else and make offers to other people to go get that new job, get that new friend, get in a new romantic relationship. But they're speaking their truth and they're listening to their intuition about the people that they communicate with and work with, because they don't want to repeat that old pattern again. And for some of you, because you're doing that, you're making these good decisions in your life and you are speaking your truth. There's other people in the world that aren't going to get in a relationship with you. No way, man. I ain't getting in a relationship with someone who's like that. I like to be indulged in a relationship. I like it to be more about me and my ego. I don't want to have to learn lessons. That person has really grown and matured and healed themselves. But I like to be indulged or something, you know? Or I like to try to manipulate people to get what I want. But for those of you who might have communicated to some people in your life, I'm moving forward this way, who wants to come with, some of those people are like, wow, you have really bucked up. You know, bossed up. You are really making some good decisions in your life, and you have really gotten clear about what your truth is and what you are and aren't going to put up with. And yeah, I don't think I'd make the cut, so I'm going to stay back here. And it's like, that's fine. You know, I can only work with people who are willing to work with me, who are on the same page. And there'll be other people that are initially defensive, and then they could do this work within themselves about what is the truth of my philosophy of life. I like to view myself as a loving person who isn't manipulated by my ego and these things of the world. Am I in a relationship right now where I feel like I'm being manipulated, or I'm in a relationship or staying in jobs or friendships more for ego or image or money? What about the people who are in a relationship with me? And some of those people will say, you know what, I think I'm in a mismatched relationship and I am willing to detach from it, admit I had lessons to learn, and this is not the right situation, and I don't care what people think. I'm living my truth, and I'm going to move forward with people like that. What's coming up for some people who might harness some more worldly or shadowy Sagittarius energy? Okay, got the King of Wands sticking out of the deck. And the reason is because of the Seven of Cups and the Star card. So, the King of Wands, you know, the King of Wands is before like the Emperor. In tarot, we have all four kings of the deck, the four kings of the deck. And as we went off in life and learned all these lessons, oh my gosh, I love them. And we ran our life into the ditch because the most important thing in our life was our heart and who we loved. And the other aspects went to hell. And then, oh my gosh, I'm defensive. And then we let our mind run our life. And the rest of our life kind of went to hell. Because the most important thing was to defend ourselves. And then we could have gotten caught up in the world, in the pentacles. We could have gotten caught up in indulging all these things. Anyway, we learn all these lessons. And if we learn all those lessons, we harness the Emperor energy in a high vibe way. Some people are still either about themselves, because Aries energy, which anyone can harness in their Aries energy of self, is about the self. And some people are still about themselves, and they still have these illusions about, I don't know, they're the brightest star in the sky, and they don't have to learn lessons and learn how to work cooperatively with people in a relationship like some other lackeys might need to. They are the cat's pajamas. And they are sure that they can keep going forward in life, caught up in this self-centered nature of themselves, continuing to act the way they act in relationships, and that everything's miraculously going to work out okay because they're like a little god in the world. And I think they're going to have people who walk away from them. If they're prideful, egotistical, self-centered, bossy, controlling, immature, defensive, blah, blah, blah people, they're going to have a hard time finding someone who wants to stay in a relationship with them. And they will probably be confused. Why didn't someone want to stay in a relationship and have a dream come into reality with me? I presented myself as like loving to you and other people when we went out in the world. And the other people are like, yeah, and I still felt left out in the cold in a relationship with you because you're defensive to actually being loving. And it seemed to be the only reason you were in the relationship was more for indulgence or the ego or the image of it. And that's not what I want. Okay, so another thing shadowy people might not see coming is that some of the people in their life that had been defending them, there comes a day when people stand up for themselves and it's like, you know, I was trying to make this relationship work and I could have put a lot of work and effort being loving and encouraging to get you to move forward with me in a just and fair manner. I could have defended you to lots of people about why I didn't leave your ass. But there comes a day, Judgment Day, when people are like, I'm done. I accept that if you were interested in moving forward in life differently, you would do this work within yourself to free yourself from why you do act this way. But you keep not making that free will choice, and I see the truth of it. If you were motivated to be that type of person, you would be that type of person, but you're not. So I'm going to leave you to live your life the way you want it. You just need to find someone else to do it with, because I'm leaving. So the high vibe people were harnessing high vibe King of Wands. Why? Because they believe in their dreams and they're not willing to keep giving up their dreams, hoping one day someone will change. And then another thing they might not see coming is there's going to be other people who want to get in a relationship with them. You know, people want to be in relationships. There'll be someone else who comes along that'll probably be willing to defend them in a relationship. And if they keep doing this kind of shit and they get in a relationship with a loving person, eventually those loving people are going to leave too. And this person's going to be confused again. Why did this person stay? It's like maybe because you don't work cooperatively with people in truth and love and put in work and effort to maintain balance within yourself so you don't indulge in these shadowy ways of being, so you can do equal give and take in a relationship with other people who do that, maintain balance within themselves, and they don't indulge in their more immature, prideful, bossy, controlling, whatever addictive addictions, you know? So there's always going to be other people who are willing to get in relationships with people. Some people will just get in a relationship to look like they've moved on and they're victorious. Yay, isn't that wonderful? And I guess after they've proved their point that they've moved on and they were the winner, they got in a relationship first after a relationship got done. Well, then I guess they'll just leave that person behind and go find someone else to go get in a relationship with or whatever. You know, some people just use other people as pawns in their game. And we need to see the truth about that too. Some people offered people the truth and love for people to move forward with them. And some people thought, again, I'm going to be defensive to them. I bet they won't love and believe in themselves. I bet they'll feel left out in the cold. They'll start to juggle what they want to do. And if they're headed in the right direction, I bet they'll come back and they'll do the relationship the way I want. So that's why I think if you get out of one relationship, you meet someone or there's someone you think you might want to be in a relationship with, I don't think high vibe people aren't operating from their ego. Yeah, I'll reach out to someone. I'll communicate my truth and tell them my truth about what could have happened in some things in my life and some lessons that I learned and how I'm moving forward now. And then I go on my way. And if those people stay back there, kind of being defensive, well, I have one or two things to assume. They're either in a wonderfully loving relationship of their own, and why would they get out of that? I wish them peace. Or they're trying to they're in their ego, defense, hoping they might not want to move forward the way you're moving forward, but if you keep communicating with them or chasing after them, well, then they might know that you don't really love and believe in yourself. And basically, you are willing to kind of indulge them, not requiring them to buck up themselves, get out of their ego. Well, then they maybe would be willing to get in a relationship with you because they might not like where they're at. You aren't willing to go create your own thing, and you maybe feel left out in the cold. Cool, we can move forward together. I am the next person you are creating an illusion with. Some of those people, though, you didn't do that, and people in their high vibe people in their life didn't do that. And now they could be kind of belittling and berating themselves like, you idiot, you should have went after that person. I mean, if you know somebody is a loving, nurturing, just fair person, you're not going to go get in a relationship with them? Why? You know? So if they don't, some of the people that you communicate with don't respond in kind, I would say, God might be saying, don't feel left out in the cold by that person, because if they were on the same page as you, they would have moved forward with you. So you're not left out of the cold of anything. You actually maybe would have been left out in the cold if they had actually come to get in a relationship with you, because they're not on the same page as you. And that's not what you want, and God knows what you want. And the other people know where they're at. If they were really on the same page as you, and you could have thought maybe they were, but they're not, okay, then apparently we're not on the same page. Or you're on your own journey with your own loving people, and I've got to find the people that I'm supposed to be with. God knows what is best for us. God knows what we want to manifest. God knows what other people wants to manifest. And there will be some people who don't want you to detach from them, and they will communicate the truth to you. But if you've already communicated your truth and they're not communicating their truth, then you're going to move on. I'm not going to stay in stuck energy or try to convince somebody, to quit living their life differently or get out of a relationship or anything like that. I spoke my truth. I'm going to keep moving forward. Maybe some people go move on to different jobs, different careers, because the pentacle suit can kind of represent that. And you'll get a new job, you'll meet new people, you'll go out in the world, maybe at a workplace. Taurus Hierophant can represent all these different establishments of the world. You just go live your life. I trust and believe God's got a plan for my life. I am not the boss and I don't control things. I'm just going to go live my life. I'm going to go treat people the way I like to be treated. I'm going to enjoy the people in my life, go enjoy what I enjoy. And I'm sure if I am meant to meet someone who's on the same page as them, I will. If some of you haven't already. But it could mean that either something you've been investing in, like a job or a career field, or some unique talent, skill, or interest, is really going to expand, or you're going to keep moving forward, and as you do, it keeps growing you to your full potential in some way that helps you manifest your dreams into reality. So there you go, Sagittarius energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.